Hey, everybody, welcome back to our Thursday Night Lives. Today is a special evening, a little bit different time frame to accommodate my guest from Nebraska. And we're going on with our South Dakota versus Midwest states to kind of talk about what's good, what's bad, what we like about each of the states. So, my guest today, his name is Alex. He's from the Omaha, Nebraska area. And I will bring him up in just a second as soon as I hit the right button. There we go. There he is. Alex,
Hello.
hey, welcome.
How's
Thanks
everybody?
for coming with us.
I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. So, few minutes on yourself. Where are you at? What do you do? Give us some your details.
Perfect. Alex Beltran. Right now, I am in Omaha, Nebraska with Berkshire Hathaway, but I am licensed in Nebraska and California. Still hold a license in California with Berkshire Hathaway as well. So I'm kind of a little bit of a conduit between both states. I really like it that way. Makes my job a whole lot easier. But overall, working a little more with managing investment portfolios than on the sales side, but still very involved on the sales process in the real estate world.
Sure. And quite on, and this says it all, right there. I mean,
that's my best friend,
picture.
Warren Buffett. Him and I have been hanging out since before I was born.
Yeah, down at the coffee shop in Omaha. That's right. That's
exactly. I love that guy.
Okay, yeah, but yeah. So we're gonna start talking to South Dakota versus Nebraska. First thing we'll get into here as soon as I bring that up too is talk about Nebraska in itself as far as geologically. What are the different areas in Nebraska, different populations, different geographies, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So essentially, the east side of Nebraska is going to be the area that it's going to be the most populated. It's where you have essentially Omaha and Lincoln, which are the two largest cities in Nebraska. On the west side, you have a little more, what is that? Scottsbluff, kind of closer to Denver, all those areas. And then towards the center, you have Grand Island, which is where the state fair is held. It's a pretty flat state if you drive across it, but it's actually very beautiful.
Yeah. I've a few times gone when we go down to Denver. So instead of going through Wyoming, we'll head straight down through Chadron here, Scottsbluff, and then down this way. And that creates it's a different. It's a fun drive because it's not as populated, and you get to see a lot of different scenery along the way. A little more farms, a little more smaller, but it's actually kind of nicer because there's a few more stops along the way than the Wyoming does the way. So
Exactly. In fact, in Scottsbluff, Chimney Rock, that huge landmark, which used to be, what did they call it? The super highway to the west, is at the base of the Chimney Rock is where my grandfather was born. So anytime, ever since I was a little kid, he would say, that's my rock. That's nobody else's.
That's
and
right.
It also happens to be in the back of the Nebraska State Quarter.
Nice. The other thing I like about we haven't done yet, but up here at near Valentine is this Niobrara River, and you can go here and float down the river. And usually there's like you bring all your friends and you float down the river. And apparently there's beer and waterfalls and a lot of fun stuff as well here. So
all the good stuff. I haven't been to Valentine, but I've been to that area where Yankton is, kind of between South Dakota and Nebraska. That was a very nice place.
Yeah, we actually spent a week there in the campground. I think we were still on the South Dakota side, but it was right there on the was the Big Sioux River or the Missouri River right there. So it was a cool place to stay. Yeah, it was a cool place to stay for sure. So, but just to kind of give you your readers as well as mine an overview of South Dakota, it's really the tale of two halves. You've got not necessarily, it should actually be East Dakota and West Dakota, not South and North, just because of the way things are. So from Sioux Falls to Pierre, Missouri River coming down here, that splits the east side of the state. And that's actually a lot like Nebraska. Very like agriculture, pretty flat. As soon as you cross the river, you get a lot more. Yeah, you got a lot more rustic type of scenery. Of course, you get the Black Hills, and we're talking about the Black Hills, which is the mountains with the Black Elk Peak, which is the highest peak this way or that way, depending on how you're looking at it. From the ocean over to that side. So certainly a lot of different things to look at in South Dakota as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have I've been to the Black Hills a couple times. What is that? It always slips my head. The one with the presidents.
The Mount Rushmore. Come on,
Mount Rushmore, exactly. Yeah, got lost there, and then ended up with what's that little town right before Mount Rushmore with all the goats?
Keystone.
Yes. Yeah, we were, we had too many drinks and we were playing with goats. I love it.
100%. So let's get right into more about Nebraska. One of the biggest things we are here in the upper Midwest is weather. So talk about weather. What's it like in Nebraska for weather?
It is amazing. It's the reason I moved from beautiful Southern California to Nebraska. I wouldn't change it for the world. And that is what I tell people so that they freak out and say, why? I mean, you get snow. This year, there wasn't that much snow, surprisingly. I was actually in Mexico during the time when there was snow. So when I came back, it was just cold. But normally you get normal snow. I haven't really had too big of an adjustment period, especially coming from Southern California. The one thing I feared was the snow. You do get a little bit of humidity. Humidity is something that I am a little more, sensitive about. I can do dry desert heat because I grew up in a desert, but when it comes to humidity, just gotta not my favorite. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when your elbow sticks to your forearm, I mean, it's just not the greatest feeling.
Yeah. So summers are a little more hot and sticky than I assume on your side.
Yeah. Overall, though, it's not too bad. It does cool down sort of towards the evenings. It is great. During the summer, last summer, I'm training for an Ironman, so I was cycling during that time. It was actually pretty pleasant. Now, noon, you don't want to be outside for too long.
Sure. Yeah, so that's kind of the same thing with South Dakota. Of course, we get snow, we get wind. I mean, I'm sure that Nebraska there gets just as much wind as we do, as it kind of comes down and comes across. But we're actually a lot drier over here on the west side of the state. East side of the state, Sioux Falls is kind of just right above you. They're just as humid as you are, but for some reason you get over across Missouri and then we're drier, so we don't have near the humidity. So I used to live in a little town in Minnesota. And it was, I remember waking up with damp sheets and all that kind of stuff. And so when we moved over here, it wasn't like that anymore. So it was kind of like, we don't mind this too much. So it was kind of cool to have that.
I wouldn't have thought that. I thought it'd be a little more humid on that side as well.
No, we're actually drier, and we tend to have these weird. So like we had these weird weather patterns. So this past week, it was 40s and 40 degrees on Monday and Tuesday. It got down to 10 and was snowing yesterday. Today it's back up to 40. It's going to be -2 on Monday. It's just that's just kind of the way it is over here.
Yeah, 2 days ago it was 70 degrees here in Omaha, and today I believe it dropped down to about 10 or 12. 12.
Yeah, it's a little chilly. You just got to know how to be prepared, that kind of stuff. So you are a little more in Tornado Alley down there, is that correct?
Supposed to be. I've been here for 3 years. So other than gusts of wind, I haven't really had any major tornado situations. I know that closer to a little bit north from here where my mom's restaurant is, South Sioux City, Nebraska. Apparently there was a couple tornadoes about 20 miles away from South Sioux City, Nebraska, exactly where, I don't remember. But I haven't really had any other than, a couple of branches falling from high winds. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing that intense.
Yeah, we typically don't have a problem, honestly. We don't have a problem too much with tornadoes, but we have hail. So we have, generally speaking, when we look out in the distance and it's like, oh, that looks like it's gray and like a storm. Yeah, put your cars away because it's a coming.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. All I've been told is if the sky is green, go indoors and hide. I don't know what that means, but I am assuming I'll know when I see it.
Yeah. That's 100%. Yeah. So I just wanted to point. I just pulled up something I meant to mention earlier, and that is this: cow population per state. So in South Dakota, we have 3.6 million cows. So with a ratio of 4 so there's 4 cows for every person.
Yes.
4 cows per person in South Dakota. Nebraska comes right as number 2. You've only got at least 3 cows per person. So, it's not quite as bad. But I just popped out of it a couple days ago. Like, oh, that's funny.
Is it including the bison? Because
no, I think that's just cattle.
That's just cattle. Okay, so
just
then
cattle.
I'm sure, including the bison, that number would be significantly higher.
It'd be a different story, right?
Exactly. In what is that area? North Sioux, which is South Dakota, right where South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa meet up.
Down there on that little creek.
Literally, you just cross right over. Bison everywhere.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Amazing. And bison burgers, so good.
And low fat.
Yeah, exactly. Got to include the health.
All right. Just a quick comment to everybody watching. If you do have any comments, go ahead and post it on YouTube for sure, and we'll be able to answer those questions for you. We're not going to talk about anything too political or anything like that, but you can ask us personally about those questions. But if you have any comments, just put them in the box for me or Alex, and we'll answer those questions for you. So next question for you: cost of living. Where you at for like gas prices? How much does it cost for milk? That kind of stuff.
I wish we would have had this live stream 2 days ago.
Oh, why?
Because 2 days ago I filled up my gas tank. Price of gas was $2.75, and this morning when I went and filled up my gas tank, $3.10. So in 2 days, jumped up. What is that? 40 cents essentially.
40 cents. Yep. Yeah. So we're actually, I saw going earlier this morning, it was like $3.35, and then I saw another one for $2.95 over here. So we're typically a little bit higher than, like, I noticed whenever we go to Sioux Falls.
Yes.
I think with the ethanol production, you have a little cheaper gas over there, but it's not a whole lot. We're usually a little bit more. Of course, then we've got the the tourists that we like to
appease,
take more money from. So
got to get those tourist dollars.
Of course. That's how we make our living. Well,
absolutely. Overall, groceries. You know what? I haven't seen the giant spike in price of groceries. In fact, I don't know which grocery store is predominant down there, but we have Hy-Vee here. Overall, very well stocked. I haven't seen too much of a shortage issue here in Nebraska. I'm assuming that's because Union Pacific is basically stationed here. You have all the major trains stopping in Omaha before they literally go anywhere in the U.S. So in terms of shortages of anything significant, I haven't really come across it, except one thing, the graphics card that I had to buy for this live stream. That was the only thing.
Took forever. Come on, I didn't want stock. Yeah, those little chips, they're just not coming over very quickly, are they? Yeah, same thing here. It seems like even though we're very remote, I mean, there's 5 hours to get anywhere from Rapid City. It seems like we usually have things stocked up. It's not, of course, there was the toilet paper thing, but that was kind of its own thing. But other than that, aside from trying to buy some things on Saturday, you usually can get something, at least most of what you want. So it's not like the stores are empty for sure by any means, but yeah. So what about your taxes over there? What do you guys do for sales tax?
Sales tax in the state of Nebraska is 5.56, I believe. And then each county has their own added little tax. Here in Douglas County, I believe it's an additional 1%, about 1 to 2%, if I'm not mistaken. You go a little bit south to Sarpy County, they don't have any, which is pretty good. So I tend to go to the Costco in Sarpy County. For that exact reason.
Go across the border.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're about 6.5% on our sales tax. And do you guys have like different things that's taxed and different things that are not taxed? Like here in South Dakota, everything is sales tax. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a service or a veterinary services or real estate services, it's all taxed.
Yeah. So for the most part, at least from like, let's just say you go into Jersey Mike's, if they heat the sandwich, they charge you tax. If they don't, if it's a cold sandwich, no tax on that. Exactly how that separates itself in the grocery store, honestly, I don't know.
Some people are like, let's
I'm
put this over
assuming
there.
if
This
it's
over here.
cold, there's no tax, and warm there is. Once there is fire that warms it, essentially, then that's when taxes go up. But
Then
as
it
far as
becomes
anything else,
prepared food. Is that?
yeah, that's what I'm assuming. Well, kind of, because the cold sandwich is also prepared, but it's cold. So, you know, whatever their version of that.
I would have liked to have been around
personally
the.
haven't looked into it.
That'd been funny to be in the boardroom for that discussion and who decided who came up with that. I was like,
This is tax. That's not. That's what we're spending our tax dollars on.
100%, 100%. What about income? State? You have a state income tax?
State income tax varies. So depending on which tax bracket you are in, I believe, hold on, 2.46 at the lowest end to 6.84 to on the high end. Once you're above, I believe it's 55,000, you're taxed at around 6%.
Okay, not too bad then, but yeah.
Anything else below that, significantly lower.
Sure. That's not terrible. I mean, not as good as the 0 in South Dakota.
Yeah, I know. I've noticed there is this little town called Winestone in South Dakota, where it's once again near South Sioux City, Nebraska, where the houses are huge, and I envy them because I know it has to do with taxes. They just have
just right there,
gorgeous homes. It's amazing.
Yeah, which perfect segue into property taxes. Do you what? Yes. I'm sure it's different per county and everything, but what kind of property taxes do you guys usually see?
So Douglas County, where the majority of Omaha is, you're looking at 2.04 for Douglas County. Everywhere else throughout the state of Nebraska, you're averaging about 1.65% on property taxes. The kind of funny thing about Douglas County is that you're paying your last year's taxes every current year. So they have this weird kind of every time you're purchasing a property, there's always a hiccup in the tax department because of paying previous tax and who's going to pay. It's
you need charts and easels, and it's just I don't know,
exactly
whatever. Just give money. Who cares?
That's exactly. Just fork it over.
Yep. Yeah, so that's we're at in our area. We're about, and this is kind of what I did this last year. 1.1 to 1.3% is kind of where our property taxes lie. But I'm kind of wondering if that's gone up as I've seen some other taxes kind of pop up as I look across the MLS listings and see taxes. If it gets to be a $300,000 home is getting close to $3,500. I'm like, we're getting a little, so yeah. But I suppose it's not as bad as some of the ones I've heard in some other states. But yeah, they certainly collect from you on those property taxes, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. What's one of them? Texas, I believe, is one of them. Has pretty high property taxes.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anything else? Anything else in your state that is, as far as a cost of living thing, is either high or low or something that's notable? For example, in our Rapid City area, basically, I think that's due to the lack of competition. Our healthcare is a little more expensive than the rest of the country, according to the cost of living calculators.
Gotcha. In terms of healthcare or anything, Omaha is well stacked with several hospitals. You have even if you want to pull up my best friend Warren Buffett, they have the Buffett wing at Nebraska Medical in downtown. I believe it is for cancer research. You have other. What's the other one? Madonna. You have several different hospitals. So in terms of healthcare, it's relatively cheap, especially given the fact that Omaha is sort of the biggest city in the region. So a lot of people come from even the small towns for medical appointments. Yeah. One of the biggest sort of unknown industries that I recently found out was a thing is the transportation of the elderly to and from Omaha between the smaller towns, which is apparently huge business. One of the clients that I recently got, that's his business. And I was like, wow, you really have nice proof of funds there.
that kind of makes sense, I guess. Yeah,
absolutely.
At least I assume in Omaha, you have a little bit easier travel times to Denver because you're only like 3 hours to Kansas City. I mean, it's not too far to get places, right?
Oh yeah. It's centrally located. Once again, going back to Union Pacific, it's one of the main reasons why it's in this region is because travel. I mean, you have Des Moines 2 hours away, Kansas City about 2.5 to 3 hours away. Denver, about an 8-hour drive, but not too bad. Sometimes you do get those flights from Epley to Denver at a relatively cheap rate, and then there's Chicago as well, which is kind of on the opposite side of Denver, which is another great place. So overall, in terms, actually, that would be the most expensive thing are flights. Any flight that lands in Omaha, relatively expensive in comparison to some of the other airports that I've landed in the past. So,
I hear people like on the East Coast talk about, I just took a plane to go here, a plane to go there. I'm like, how are you doing this? Oh, well, if the flights aren't $500 a pop, then hey, it's a little easier to do that.
Exactly. You're not. Well, although parking in Omaha, Nebraska, very cheap. I remember I parked when I was living in Los Angeles for about a week. Came back. Turns out it was $35 a day. The parking almost cost me more than my actual vacation. It was a brutal, especially coming back from vacation. You know, you're counting your pennies a little bit, and then all of a sudden this large parking fee, and you're like, oh, I'm really screwing up. And then you look down at your gas tank, and you're like, no, I got to fill that up too.
I don't even, that's something that when I'm planning a vacation, I don't even think about. Because, I mean, the downtown meters, are a buck or two for a couple hours or whatever they are. But, $35 an hour at some places. And you're like, wait a minute, we didn't figure that in. We went to a conference once at a hotel, and the hotel had a parking of $35 a day. And we were like, okay, I guess we'll. Oops.
Well, thanks for letting me know.
Nice to that.
So apart from that, I mean, you're looking at around $4 to $6, depending on which parking structure you park at for parking here in Omaha, which is not bad.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Since we are realtors, it only makes sense to us talk about the housing market. So to give you an idea, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot, kind of a standard house over a house. What kind of a price point is that in Omaha or other places in Nebraska?
Yeah, you're looking at around $250-ish. It's kind of the median home price here, sort of in a little more Omaha proper, where I live in Elkhorn. That price goes up to about $400,000. Granted, properties here in Elkhorn are a little bit newer in comparison to sort of Omaha proper. But overall, there's actually a huge building push right now. One of the videos that I sent you, there are a couple of new construction that is being, I believe it is, you have Amazon. Did my camera go down? No, we're good. Okay. We have Amazon. Yeah, that's one of them right there. That's actually a brand new school that is being built. There's a large push of new properties. In fact, there are several areas, especially in South Omaha over by Papillion, where that's downtown Omaha, where you have major industries coming in, everything. I mean, you have Amazon down there, you have Google down there, you have LinkedIn. In fact, there's so many companies that are building down there that you lose track. There's so many places where there's new construction going on that wasn't being built, even a week ago. They just recently started breaking ground. So in that sense, I really like the way that Omaha is growing at a very healthy rate, because I grew up in Lancaster, Palmdale, where they had 2007, 2008, where KB homes was a big thing. And then they had ghost neighborhoods where one house was filled and 40 house projects completely empty, all left in different sort of states of the building process. But Omaha right now is growing at a very reasonable rate. It's the reason why I'm here. It's the reason why I decided to take the leap from Los Angeles to Nebraska. So I really enjoy it. And prices are reasonable.
Right, because that same place in California is $1 million plus, probably, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, you Yeah, you're probably looking almost anywhere in California now, minimum $400,000 for anything reasonable, but far away
Right.
from Los Angeles. So where I grew up, Lancaster, Palmdale, you can still get yourself a house there. But in Nebraska right now, given everything that you're getting, I personally think that it's actually underpriced in comparison to
Yeah.
what I'm used to.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see that you have, your building is business oriented too. So
Mhm.
that's going to bring in the people so they don't have too many homes kind of thing. But that's kind of we're actually experiencing a growth spurt that's been a little bit of a challenge because a number of people have come in. We were like I don't know if you saw in Wall Street Journal past year kind of put out, no, Realtor.com actually put out the top emerging markets. And Rapid City
Yeah.
was number 2 twice on that list.
Mhm.
Because we just had a lot of people coming in, a lot of people interested in our area. And so we've kind of had a growth spurt that's been a little hard to kind of maintain as we're
Mhm.
dealing with things. Builders right now are having a hard time keeping up with the demand. And
Yeah.
it's just kind of hard because they've got all the power. I mean, I can't, I'm working with one right now that I'm trying to negotiate with, and there's no negotiation. It's like, yeah, I'll get done when I get done, and have a good day. You'll have a house. Here's a house. You're
Yeah.
done. It's
Yeah.
just kind of crazy, but we'll figure it out. But the affordable housing pieces are kind of needing to get figured out, and that's all got to be through governmental issues, things that are
Yeah.
enhanced with, and those take time. But
Yeah. I mean, real
depending on the
estate
side of
falls.
town,
Yeah, real estate falls into this weird crossroads between, sort of human right and an asset, and those two things couldn't be further apart. And who knows what the solution to that is? I don't know. I don't work for the
yeah.
government, but as a real estate agent, I enjoy selling properties. And right now, going back everything here in Nebraska, I'm surprised that they have workers for how much work is being produced right now in all those areas, because they're breaking ground on everything, which is, in comparison to when I was in California a couple of weeks back, they didn't have any workers for pretty much anything. Even if they had the permits, they couldn't build up at all because there was no one to literally do the work, which is amazing here in Omaha that you have a relatively strong labor market and plenty of jobs that are still available. I mean, I don't know what the starting wages are out there, but I just walked past a sign where McDonald's is offering $18 an hour, and I'm like, I might consider a career change, you know?
Yeah, we've had a employee shortage for sure over here,
Yeah,
and that McDonald's was offering $15 an hour, and then I saw all sorts of even Pepsi is offering $3,000 for a driver bonus just to get you
yeah,
started, all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Pretty
cool.
interesting.
Yeah. So last point, let's go with the top 3 things. What do you love the most about Nebraska, about where you're at? You probably mentioned most of them, but hey, repeat and re-rinse.
Okay. The food. Omaha, Nebraska is a hidden gem when it comes to the food.
Really, I would never have guessed that.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have guessed that myself. There's so many great restaurants. There is V-Merts. There is this French restaurant that I don't remember the name of in downtown. There's a place called Twisted Fork. So many great restaurants where if you go to a chain restaurant, you're actually doing yourself a huge disservice. Like Olive Garden and all those places. I mean, they're good, but there are
But they're
so
not
many good
good.
places around town. There is this place in Bellevue that makes homemade or freshly made pasta that is deadly good. It's amazing. I forget the name of that restaurant as well off the top of my head, but overall, the food can't beat it. Can't beat
Wow.
it. The next thing is no traffic. I mean, you do have little times of the day where like 8 o'clock and 5 o'clock, where
Yeah.
instead of taking you 10 minutes to get somewhere, it takes you about 15. The way I like to describe it is the traffic here in Omaha is cute because in comparison to Los Angeles, where it takes you almost an hour to get from Sunset Boulevard to the 405 freeway, which is about a mile in distance, an extra 5 minutes can't really complain too much.
Right,
The next
right.
thing is
Yep.
overall with Nebraska is, oddly enough, I've felt very comfortable here. Coming from Los Angeles, I lived in New York, so I tried the whole bi-coastal thing for a little while. I didn't think I would enjoy Omaha as much as I do. In fact, as much as I travel, I honestly believe that Omaha, Nebraska, and Kansas City, Missouri are the two best cities to live in the Midwest, hands down.
Wow.
It's just, in fact, sort of the way I kind of like to describe it to people is Omaha is sort of the carbon copy of Kansas City. What you see Kansas City is now is what Omaha, Nebraska is going to be within the next 10 to 15 years. And that's why I like to get on the ground floor, and
Nice.
the reason why I'm here in Omaha to begin with.
Nice. Oh, cool. Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah. So my three, South Dakota, the first one actually is the climate. I like the fact that I was out without a coat on yesterday, even though I will have a coat on next week.
Yeah.
But we have these breaks in the winter, so it doesn't feel like a full long winter with snow on the ground the entire time. But I also like the fact that in that same sentence that we do have 4 seasons, that we do have a winter, that we do have a fall and a spring. So the climate is a huge part of why I like it here. I also enjoy we have lots of sun. We have lots of we don't have a lot of humidity, as I mentioned before. And so to me, that's just, we kind of get a little bit of everything here. Although I do really enjoy the beach, and sitting warm on the beach would be really nice right now. Yeah. So I'm not going to deny that by any means. So
I envy you in that regards, because I love the mountains. I love the mountains. It's the reason why I go to Colorado quite a bit, for those mountains. So, here in Omaha, we're pretty flat. I mean, we do have a couple of nice little prairie ups and downs.
Sandhills, but yeah,
exactly.
Yep, and that's actually my number one reason. That is the Black Hills. It's amazing how you can be in the Black Hills, hiking down a place with no one else, and all you see is a dog and one person and a dog, and you're there in 15, 20 minutes. So and then you just kind of get this feeling of release and stress free, and you just go hiking and kind of recenter. And so that's an amazing part of the Black Hills. And the other part is just being in a spot in an area where the people are friendly. And I've heard this more than just from me. I've heard it from a lot of my clients that have moved into the area. I interviewed them, a few of them in December. Every one of them, the people are nice here. The people are nice here. The people are nice here. So that's something that we take a lot of pride in around here.
Yeah,
I'm one of those people that when you walk down the street, I'm gonna smile and say hi to you. And so
absolutely.
it's interesting watching the people who respond, who doesn't. But a lot of times
that's a Midwest thing, though. That is a very Midwest thing to do. Los Angeles, you say hello to someone, they're calling the cops on you. They think you're going to mug them.
Something.
Here in the
what
Midwest,
do you want from me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Here in the Midwest, you flash someone a nice smile and a hello, and they are very friendly. I mean, that's one of the things that I have actually enjoyed significantly about the Midwest in general, is just, at first, coming from Los Angeles, you feel uncomfortable. Like, what do you want? And then after that, you realize, oh, this is just how people are here. It's amazing. Yeah. You get used to the normality of being nice to one another.
That's funny that you have to say it that way. That's terrible, but it is what it is, I guess. So, all right, I think we've done a good job. 33 minutes so far, my friend. How anything else you kind of want to say about Nebraska, or let's kind of wrap her up here?
Oh man, one of the things you have to experience is a Cornhusker game. It's not a professional team; it is a college team. But yeah, exactly. The energy. I've been to Staples Center. I've been in the Madison Square Garden. I've been to several places. That Nebraska Husker Stadium is something else. The roar in that particular stadium, it's an experience. I highly recommend that. If you come visit Nebraska, try to catch a Huskers game. It's fanaticism on a different level. It's amazing. It's so great.
Well, yeah, usually I see a lot of Go Big Red stickers up here. I mean, there's a lot of Nebraska fans up this way. Absolutely. Even it goes a bit way. Yeah, that's for sure. So. Yeah, sports is something we don't have much of here in South Dakota. We kind of have to glean up everywhere else and kind of be, this is my area.
Absolutely. Yeah, everyone here is a Kansas City Chiefs fan, but
Of course.
predominantly a Huskers fan. Everybody here has the license plate that says "Go Big Red."
100%. 100%. Cool.
Perfect.
Well, thanks, Alex. Appreciate you joining me here, and we had a good
Absolutely.
time. Appreciate you laughing with me. Everybody watching, I'll put Alex's contact information, of course, in the description below, as well as mine. So if you have any other questions about Nebraska, give my buddy Alex a call. And of course, talk about South Dakota, give me a call. So there we go. I hope everybody has an amazing day, and we'll see you guys later. Take care.
Take care. Bye.